Hi there. Okay, first time doing Facebook Live. So, welcome. My name is Lana, if you couldn't tell. I want to see how many people show up and if anybody is curious as to what I'm doing here. So, the title of this video is Hurt People, Hurt People. Give me a thumbs up, give me an indication who's here, say hi. Are you curious to hear what I have to speak about? Hey Don. Okay, so when I was doing my morning meditation, there was something that streamed in and I was reminded about how when people are hurt themselves, they will lash out and hurt others. And quite often what happens is it's unconscious. It's just reactionary. It's the first instinct because that fight or flight kicks in and we tend to lose sight of our own compassion and the compassion for others. We lose sight of the breath. How often do we hold our breath? When we become tense, when we feel triggered, emotional, we tend to seize up. Our physical body literally tightens. Our jaws tighten, our necks tighten. And then we close down our hearts. We protect ourselves. Very natural for us to do that because when we're hurt, we go into more like the fetal position. We go into that protective mode, which is very much, you can tell by the physiology of a person, but also in the breathing, the breath. We tend to get into that mode of not even realizing we're not breathing. So most often what that turns into is we hold the breath, kind of like we hold something against someone. And the only one who ends up hurt in the end is us. Even if we think in the moment, I need to say something or I need to retaliate or react, it's more that fight flight. It's that moment when we're not conscious, we're not neutral, we're very much in that defensive mode, and in the end what happens, we reflect upon it and go, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that. So when we bring it back to the breath and we take a few moments, not just to, count 1 to 10, 1 to 3, whatever it is you need, but to actually just tap into whether or not you're breathing. Feel where you are in your body. Notice if you're tense. Notice if your body is showing the same indications of that pain. Because what's happened is when you feel hurt, you're re-experiencing something from your past, and there's this natural sense of vindication. I need to right this wrong. I need to speak up for myself, instead of just sitting back and going, okay, where is this coming from? Where is this originating? If we can trace back the pains from a physical perspective, through the emotional perspective, back to our past, to our childhood especially, because that's where most of it is stemming from, we can see with compassion that that was an experience we had. It's not something that defines who we are today, but has tended to rule how we've proceeded in our lives. As a result, unconsciously doing these reactive attacks, let's say, it only ends up being that we continue to repeat the process. So the most important thing is we need to take time to recognize where we ourselves are hurt and try to be more conscious of our breathing. Try to be more conscious of our physical body. And when these events occur that you get triggered and brought back to that place, that originating experience from your childhood or any time during your life, allow yourself to sit with that and really just ask yourself, is that who I am now? Where am I today? You know, sometimes you need to take your left hand, place it over your heart, and your right on your stomach, and just tap into the inner child and just soothe it and remind it, it's okay, I've got your back. We're adults now. We're stronger than we were back then. And we have the ability to change the way we respond or react. See, reacting is coming from the emotional perspective, and responding is coming from a neutral place where you're able to reflect upon it. So, I mean, for myself, I was thinking about some events today that just cracked me up. And exactly, Jameson, we're totally unconscious. It's so deeply ingrained in us, physiologically and all, to the point where literally we're just going through motions. We've become so habitual. We rarely will take the time to step back and go, wow, let me witness what just transpired in that event right now. It's so important, especially today. You see it in people around you, whether it's driving your car, going in the grocery store, just walking into a bookstore. Look at the energy of the people around you and how there's so much tension, so much uptightness, snappy responses and reactions, and immediate attention to something being more personal as opposed to the individual just being where they're at in that point in their life. And see, when you start to witness this coming into your awareness of where you're at as far as hurts and pains, it gives you the opportunity to sit with it and be more compassionate, not only to yourself, but toward others around you. The more we heal ourselves, the more we're able to not just give permission for others to heal around us, but it also allows us to be more compassionate and recognize in others where, wow, yes, I see where they're coming from because I was there. 9 times out of 10, you're seeing a mirror of yourself in every circumstance, every event. Even if it's something you dislike, chances are it's a reflection of somewhere you've been at some point in your life, or may still be, and it sets you off, and you go, oh my gosh, look at the way that person's behaving, and just kind of do a check-in. Hey, have I ever done that? Have I had that behavior? A lot of times we rarely want to admit we've been a certain way, and we have. So going back to where I was reflecting earlier today, my family has a way of using humor to soften the blow, to make, kind of break the ice. Not always the best humor, but this is one thing I do love about my family. So years ago, when I lived in Holton, Maine, some of you know me from there, my father had a restaurant and my parents had split up, and it was a very traumatic time because I really wanted my dad's attention. I really needed it at that time. I don't remember exactly the age I was. I'm sure I could figure it out. But at the time, he was dating this woman who was an alcoholic and had her own set of behaviors. And at that time, at my age, I was a little wise ass. I mean, if I didn't like somebody, I wasn't really good about hiding it. And I didn't like her. That was clear. So while we were at my dad's restaurant, I went out and I bought a get well card for my father. And because I was hurt, this woman was nasty to me too. She would tell me that I wasn't pretty and I'd never be a beauty queen, of which she was only mad because I wanted to watch the pageant one year or something. And I said, you're just jealous because you already know you will never get there. But I went out and get well card. And when I came back and I gave it to my dad and made a point to give it to him while she was sitting right there. And I basically, in the letter, wrote something to the effect of, once you get over this individual, I hope it's soon. And she was livid. She went out and she slammed the door. But going back to that time, I was hurt, and so I lashed out. I reacted in a way that hurt her. But see, that's the cycle, because 9 times out of 10, we don't deliberately want to hurt somebody, but what we may do is hurt them through an action, a word, or some other form. And it's unconscious, or we're just unaware of it. And then as a result, we may react with the intention to hurt back just because they hurt me, I need to hurt them, or, it's the cycle that we need to break. And it goes back and forth in such a way that until someone wakes up and goes, hey, this is crazy. This is like a ping pong match. I hurt you, you hurt me, I hurt you, whose turn is it? But ultimately, in the end, it really boils down to taking the time, and it's very much about a conscious effort to work on yourself, to end these legacies, these pains that individuals live with. We need to work on ourselves first. We can think we know what's better from anybody else, but ultimately nothing is going to heal until we work on us. That's why they say, be the change you want to see in the world. Gandhi's quote. We need to take the time and just be with who we are. And that's probably the hardest thing that we can do, because that means really looking at ourselves. And most of the times we're afraid of people seeing us for who we are, because maybe we really don't like where we're at, especially based on a lot of the past experiences that we've had. Because if somebody sees, hey, that person went through a certain experience, we're afraid that person's not going to like me any longer. We're afraid of judgment. Judgment is what holds us back most of the time, but it's mostly our judgment upon ourselves. And we need to be more vulnerable, more courageous, and stand our own personal power. And when we accept ourselves for who we are, it doesn't matter if anybody does or doesn't accept you. People naturally will accept you, but in the end, until you accept you, it'll be demonstrated in the experiences that you have. So I hope this video serves you well, and I appreciate those of you who showed up. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love. And I hope those who get to watch this afterward enjoy it. Have a blessed day, evening. Thank you. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.